Hi everyone, my name is Candace Wilson and I'm a senior here at K-State and I am a student in the AgCom 400 class and this is my Cup of Culture video blog post. So I decided of all of the options that we were given that I wanted to do a reading option. One, because I consider myself to be a very avid reader, and two, because I felt it was the smallest time commitment because as a senior, I'm very busy, obviously. So after reading all of the summaries about the books and reviews about the books, I settled on A Thousand Acres by Jane Smiley, mainly because I felt like it was the kind of writing style that I generally read and I'm able to get into. So it begins with Virginia Cook as a child, and it kind of suddenly jumps ahead to her in her 30s. And that was one of my least favorite things about the book, how in the beginning it was just very slow going and very disjointed. It was really hard for me to get into at first. I felt not a whole lot happened in the beginning, and because of that, I would never read large chunks of the book at a time. I would read maybe a chapter here and a chapter there, and that came back to bite me later because once I got into the book, I'd have to flip back and kind of reread the earlier portions because I'd forgotten what happened, and those specific details were very important later on in the book. Other than that, though, once I got into it, I thought it was a great read. What I liked most about the book was that it shined a light on domestic violence and sexual assault issues in a rural environment. I know that a lot of people, when they talk about domestic violence or sexual assault, they kind of put it in an urban culture. They kind of stereotype it with living in a big city or something like that. And I think that because of that, it doesn't get talked about enough that it does happen in rural environments as well. I also really like how the book evolved as I progressed through it. At first, I thought, how much am I really going to get out of a book that's talking about a farming family in Iowa? Because having come from a farming family in Missouri, I felt that we had very similar stories and there wasn't a lot of difference between our cultures. As I got farther into the book, though, I realized, and it was probably the whole point of the assignment in the first place, is that no matter how similar or different someone is compared to you, we're all human and we're all unique and we all have a story to tell. And that kind of goes hand in hand with what I learned is that I think to be able to appreciate someone that isn't like you, you have to be able to listen. I wasn't seeing the uniqueness of the story and I just kind of discounted it and written it off at the beginning. Because I convinced myself it was a story just too similar to my own. And so I think that the first step is appreciating other cultures is acknowledging that there is a difference between everybody and that to acknowledge those differences and then really listen to learn about those differences. So I would definitely recommend the book, and I want to thank you guys for your time and hopefully you enjoyed my blog post.